This is the next Rules Lawyer video on whether alchemy sucks in Pathfinder 2e. In the first of the series, we looked at alchemy as a whole and saw that there's a higher skill floor to be either an alchemist or in using alchemical items that are in the system. Alchemy, its advantages is giving the party the ability to pivot or adapt to a wide variety of possible situations. It involves having some familiarity with at least some of the many, and there are nearly 400 alchemical items currently available today in Pathfinder 2e, and 200 of them are common, and also knowing to prepare them or to have them at least in your formula book if you can craft them for the right situation when it comes. As one of Buffy the Vampire Slayer's watchers advised, being good at alchemy requires preparation. Preparation, preparation. In the first video, I looked at why that is very powerful in Pathfinder 2e, so look at that if you haven't yet. We took a closer look at a variety of bombs and also features and feats that characters can take in order to do well with bombs. First, I want to address the view that alchemists don't heal as well as committed support casters like clerics in this system, and that is true. In fact, no one heals quite as well as perhaps a divine cleric or a divine sorcerer that has access to the heal spell in the system. And so that's not really a fair comparison. How an alchemist is able to fill the healing role in the party is as either a secondary healer or by leveraging the special qualities of alchemical items. They are items that can be used by any character. And so one of the tips I'll be giving, well, I'll give it right now, is for every character in the party to have elixirs of life on their person, so that anyone who is knocked down to 0 hit points can be brought back into the battle by any other character by spending 2 actions to interact with the item on that person and a second action to feed it to the person. Alchemical healing items provide a way to decentralize the healing role in a Pathfinder party. And if you have an alchemist or someone who dedicates into alchemist, they have the ability to have free alchemical items every morning that they can prepare to give to the party, make them much more available to the party. We will go over the alchemical healing items today. There are not a lot of them, and so this will be a relatively short video, but also look at the various feats and features that alchemists and non-alchemists can use to improve healing with alchemical items in Pathfinder. Any party can benefit from this list of items and potential feats. First of all, some of the feats, like the skill feat alchemical crafting, can be taken by any character that is trained in crafting. Also, alchemical items, a lot of these are common items and are readily available, and party members can purchase them. Once they gain a few levels, they can get level 1 items at bargain prices. The skill feat allows the character, if there's sufficient downtime in the campaign, to make this big supply of items for the party to carry around. Also worth noting is the Prescient Consumable General feat, which requires Prescient Planner first. These are the feats that let you search among your belongings to find, to be able to say, aha, I have happened to have that exact item we need. And Prescient Consumable extends it beyond a set of mundane adventuring gear items to consumables that are of any kind, that are common, and still are at least at the most half your level. But this opens up all of the common alchemical items that are one use in the game. So all of these items become always available, but you can only use it once between shopping trips to a character who has that feat. And it becomes even more valuable in our later videos when we look at the huge variety of elixirs and mutagens that are also obtainable through this feat. The first item is, of course, the Elixir of Life. Elixirs of Life, when compared to healing potions, which are magical items, heal a little bit less, but they have the added benefit of giving the imbiber a +1 item bonus on their saving throws against disease or poison at low levels, and at higher levels, that increases, though it's probably effectively a +1 increase because the system assumes you have a bonus from a rune on your armor at those higher levels. Because they're alchemical items, a character with the advanced alchemy feature, so someone who is an alchemist or has the alchemist dedication, can easily, for free, make a bunch of them in the morning and make sure that every member of the party has at least one on them for the trick that I mentioned earlier. And unlike the skill feat battle medicine, there is no cap on how many times you can benefit from an elixir of life. A +1 bonus against poisons and disease sounds minor, but in Pathfinder 2e, that increases not only your chance to succeed, but also to critically succeed and to avoid a critical failure. And with poisons and diseases, because they operate in stages, once you contract the affliction, you are on a roller coaster, making several saves if you go down to stage 2 in order to recover, and your stage goes up and down. Because you're making several saves, that +1, which actually is a +2 from other systems in Pathfinder, becomes repeated several times over if the affliction goes south. Poison and disease can be nasty in Pathfinder, sometimes giving you a penalty of 1, 2, or even 3 on all of your vital statistics. And so you want to get that poison off of you right away if it's a poison, and Elixir of Life not only gives you a boost to healing, but also reduces the duration. And the paralegals over at the Rules Lawyer Discord, I am in debt to Swing Ripper and Strategy, who did some simulations using their programming skills. So when a level 8 character with a typical Fortitude save bonus was exposed to the level 8 Wyvern poison, the average duration of the poison went down by 1/3 of a round, from a mere +1 bonus. And we will see when we get to Antidote, another item, that bonus increases. There are Alchemist feats and features that can make this even more lucrative, and we'll get to those later. The next item is Antiplague. Disease can be nasty in Pathfinder 2e also. There is no automatic way to just cure disease, as there is in previous editions. It also goes by stages that can get progressively worse, and each usually lasts a day. In Pathfinder, Antiplague gives you a nice +2 bonus, usually, to your saving throw, at least when compared to the bonus that you're assumed to have from your magic items. And +2 can be huge. When we look at Filth Fever, the fatal disease from the level -1 giant rats, level 1 characters that have a typical Fortitude save bonus who contract it and are at stage 1 have a 19.5% fatality rate if given no assistance, if left on their own devices. But if they benefit from Antiplague each day and have a +2 bonus from it, that goes down to 5.5%. That's nearly a 75% reduction in the frequency of death. And when we look at stage 2, 3, and 4, from using those as starting points, the difference remains vast. So the lesson so far is don't sit on alchemical items. A well-prepared party is going to have at least the low-level versions of these items to account for every eventuality. And a party that is in the mid-levels should be able to afford Antiplague that is quite cheap for them, that increases their bonus by 2. Now we go to antidotes. These are Antiplague, but against poisons. And I'll say first that poison and other kinds of damage over time for low-level characters is disproportionately a cause of death, the way that Pathfinder 2e works. You can have hero points that prevent you from dying, but if that persistent damage or poison is still on you, you still have a good chance of death. And so Antidote and the previous Elixir of Life can be quite valuable. Antidote has a duration of 6 hours, so any well-prepared party should imbibe this. It gives you a +2 bonus relative to what you already have, generally, and that, as we saw with the Elixir of Life math, is going to have a huge effect. And in the case of Wyvern Poison for level 8 characters. It reduces the duration of the affliction by 2/3 of a round, typically. That can be a round less of being flat-footed or clumsy or sickened. Another item that I will argue is essential is Focus Cathartic. What this does is it counteracts the Stupefied condition. Stupefied is a terrible condition for spellcasters in Pathfinder 2e. Whenever you're stupefied, whenever you try to cast a spell, you must do a flat check and succeed on it and get a result of 5 plus your stupefied value or higher. So if you're stupefied 2, you have to roll a 7 or higher every time you cast every single spell. And to protect against this, you want the Focus Cathartic, which attempts a counteract check against the source of what made you stupefied. So in those clutch moments when your spell is really needed for a particular situation, which is very often, that's the nature of spellcasting, then you don't want that heal spell to be disrupted by your stupefied condition, the heal spell that will raise 2 of your party members back up from 0. So this is an essential item for spellcasters to have, and as well for any alchemist to have in their formula book. Next is its cousin, Sinew Shock Serum, which attempts to counteract the clumsy condition and the enfeebled condition. Though not quite as debilitating as the stupefied condition, they can give a bad day to especially your martial characters in the front. If you can get access to it, another essential item would be Dragon's Blood Pudding. It's printed in the Grand Bazaar, so it's in the Markets of Absalom. It is a level 2 uncommon item, and so you'll need to talk to your GM to see whether it's available. But a lot of GMs will allow you to find it with some effort. And Dragon's Blood Pudding counteracts the slowed condition, and that is the very, very bad one that penalizes how many actions you have every turn. The last item is the Skin Stitch Salve, and I said this would be a short list. It's a level 7 consumable item, alchemical item, and it allows characters that do not have healer's tools to try to do a vital medicine skill during combat, such as stabilizing them. And it allows those who do have medicine and healer's tools to get a +2 bonus. It's somewhat mediocre compared to the permanent +2 bonus that you can get from a level 9 set of greater healer's gloves. And it does make me think I should do a video someday on consumable items, on whether they're overpriced and how to use them effectively in the system, because that would be included. An honorable mention should go to what I call pseudo healing from the Juggernaut Mutagen. The level 11 greater Juggernaut Mutagen and its higher level counterpart give you 30 temporary hit points when you drink it, and over the entire duration, which is 1 hour, whenever you are at full hit points and 1 minute passes, you get those 30 temporary hit points back. So it gives you this cushion that is very good and protects those hit points. So in a healing video, I thought that needed mention. Before we move on to the Alchemist features, and by extension, the feats that you can get from the Alchemist dedication archetype, honorable mention goes to the Herbalist archetype, which is basically alchemy, but focused on healing items. And you get bonuses to your medicine checks when you have access to ingredients from nature, a significant bonus. And unlike the Alchemist dedication, your ability to make elixirs of life is not capped at level 7 elixirs with the Herbalist dedication. You get to make the very best elixirs with it. So it's a good archetype to take if you're interested in non-magical, providing a good non-magical healing for the party. When talking about the Alchemist and its ability to heal the party, we have to talk about the Chirurgeon. It's one of the 4 research fields that you can choose. One benefit is that you get to use your crafting skill when performing any medicine check. So you're already an intelligence-based class, so it makes you even better and wide-ranging in your skills, and lets you fill the primary medicine person role in the party, which you definitely want one in the party. It gives you the ability to craft 2 formulas at level 1 that produce for you in the morning, not 2, but 3 copies of that item. That then extends to all of your elixirs of life from level 5 forward. The perpetual class feature, the ability to make infinite items using quick alchemy starting at level 7, understandably does not let you make infinite elixirs of life. That would give infinite healing, easily accessible infinite healing between combats. And so that perpetual class feature is limited to antidotes and antiplagues, which is meh. Antidotes are not the kinds of things you want to be able to make on the fly. It's better to give them beforehand because it lasts 6 hours anyway. It looks like the main appeal of the Chirurgeon is the level 13 ability you get to, when you quick alchemy an elixir of life, it heals the maximum amount. And as we know, you're able to brew multiples of these items. First, you get to brew 2 items, and then at level 15, 3 items at once for yourself or allies to use on your party members. And basically, you can, with the elixirs of life that you can brew at level 13, provide 120 hit points of healing by double brewing that item. Your ability to heal the maximum with your elixirs of life continues into the very highest levels with the most powerful elixirs, at which time you also get the ability to triple brew with alchemical alacrity. And so you can be healing over 200 points of damage. So one thing you have over a caster that relies on the heal spell is that you can do something that heals more than the 1-action version of heal or the 3-action version of heal, but it affects more than one person in the party, potentially. We now go over the feats, and there's a level 4 feat called Healing Bomb. Not to be confused with bombs. Logic complaints about the naming of this because I had a player who thought they could throw it at allies and affect a splash radius. Basically, imagine throwing it into their mouth and they drink it. That's what it does. And the effect of it is that you can stand in the back of the party, you quick alchemy something, and then you throw it at the ally, and you actually have to not critically miss in doing an attack roll against your ally. So as long as you do a regular failure or better, they will get the benefit of the potion. It splashes on them, but no one else. And if you critically succeed, they also get the temporary benefit against poison that is quite good, as I described earlier, and also disease. So the point of this feat is to get reach and to be able to stay in the back lines and not have to physically run around and possibly expose yourself to danger. Also, when you combine this with other feats that extend your throwing range and get uncanny bombs, for instance, you could have an ally that's 150 feet above you and chuck your healing bomb up to them at a reduced penalty, and so long as you don't critically fail, they get healed from you. Quite awesome. Level 6 is quite useful for all elixirs, but I'll talk about healing items today. It's called Combine Elixirs, where you spend 2 extra batches when you use Quick Alchemy to create a single consumable item that combines the effects together of 2 items. And it has the additive 2 trait, which means it has to be at least 2 level, the formulas involved have to be at least 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. And so you're able to combine 2 elixirs of life into a single elixir. And this combines with, if you're a Chirurgeon, with the ability to do maximum healing with each elixir of life, and also to brew more than one. So in our fantasy scenario, a level 17 alchemist that can brew a major elixir of life can use their class feature to brew 3 such elixirs at once using their quick alchemy action, and one of those will be a combined elixir that has the effect of 2 elixirs. So that's 4 major elixirs of life, healing at maximum hit points, each one healing 69, and so totaling 276 points of healing that the party can distribute. that is quite amazing. Next is Merciful Elixir, available at level 10. It is additive 2. It lets you make an elixir of life counteract a fear or paralysis effect. And the greater version of this feat is level 14 and adds to the list of potential things it can counteract: blinded, deafened, sickened, or slowed. Each of those effects can be quite bad for a party member. And to have that ability to be able to remove that, you definitely want at least one party member to be able to do that in the party. The level 18 feat, Miracle Worker, lets you, once every 10 minutes, use one of your level 19 elixirs of life, the true elixir of life, to resuscitate someone from death. This can be good for the death effects that high-level parties will be facing. If they're not instantly dying, you probably want to heal them before they die. But this brings them back from death. If you don't have the Breath of Life spell in your party, then this is something that is quite a good insurance policy, a literal life insurance policy. The capstone level 20 feat of Craft Philosopher's Stone lets you create a Philosopher's Stone once a month, which gives you a huge amount of income. Or alternatively, you can combine it with a true Elixir of Life to create the amazing Elixir of Regeneration. The Elixir of Regeneration can be used to heal someone to full hit points and remove all afflictions as long as they're not above 20th level. All curses, diseases, poisons. And alternatively, can resurrect somebody who's been dead for less than a week. So I want to end with some other thoughts on healing and alchemy. Familiars are great for using or passing alchemical items to your party members. Alchemists have access to a familiar with a level 1 feat, and if they want to advance it beyond 2 abilities, they can take the familiar master archetype, and other party members can also get familiars and hold alchemical items and use their familiar to distribute them among the party. And there are some familiar abilities that are quite useful for this purpose. There is, well, at low levels, having an extra batch of reagents for an alchemist is huge because you are starving for batches. Another one is independent. It lets your familiar do one action even if you don't use an action to command it. Lab assistant, your familiar is able to use the quick alchemy action also, but it does require the manual dexterity familiar ability as well. But for your familiar to be able to use your quick alchemy action is basically doubles you on the battlefield. Valet is quite good for action economy. It gets to use one of its actions to take an item you're wearing and put it in your hand. So if you feel like you're wasting actions, taking things out, taking out more items, having a familiar, putting them in your hands will save a bunch of action economy. My last comment would be, with alchemists in general, you want to see what you can find out about the encounters and challenges you'll face in the day ahead. The Game Mastery Guide provides a system for handling research done by party members, and because monsters and hazards often have weaknesses or have special threats that they pose, it's quite useful in Pathfinder to get advanced knowledge of these things. And since if you're an alchemist or any other intelligence or wisdom-based character, you are quite good at getting information. You'll want to research what things you'll find. And if you find that you're going to be heading into an area that has a lot of poisonous snakes or poisonous creatures, you will want to know that information so that you can prepare what you need ahead of time. Or facing occult enemies that stupefy or otherwise mentally attack your party members. That's something you'll want to prepare for. So that's my relatively short guide. I'm only focusing on healing items. We're going to get to the big categories next. We're going to go into mutagens next and look at which are confounding. A lot of people see, oh, it gives me this bonus, which looks modest on the one hand, but it also gives me these drawbacks. How do we make those useful? I hope some of the answers have already been hinted at in today's video, but if you want to be notified of the next video, like and subscribe as well as ring the bell so that you get notified about my next video. So if you haven't yet, please support my Patreon. Also join my Discord to join the Rules Lawyer community where we play Pathfinder 2e games. So that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.